Welcome to Lakshman Biology. In this video, I'll explain about the agents of pollination. Agents of pollination. Agents of pollination means the things which are used for the transfer of pollen grains. Actually, pollen grains not contain any legs and no flagella, no cilia for movement. How they will move, how they will transport towards the stigma. If it is another flower of same plant, or if it is another flower of different plant, pollen grain should be reach up to stigma. The things which are used for the transportation of that pollen grains in pollination are called agents of pollination. The pollinating agents may be living things or may be non-living things. If living things are used for the pollination, those are called biotic agents. If example zoophily, zoophily means pollination by animals. If zoophily is one type of biotic pollinating agent, means that is a living thing. And air, water also helped for the pollination. Those are non-living things, hence those are called abiotic agents. Okay, there are two types of agents helped for the pollination. Those are biotic agents and abiotic agents. The main examples for abiotic agents are air and water. If air helped for the pollination, that is called anemophily. If water helped for the pollination, that is called as hydrophily. Then main biotic agent is main biotic factor or biotic agent which helped for the pollination is zoophily, means animals. Okay, apart from the zoophily, we can see the remaining also. Now one by one we will discuss about the agents of pollination. First one, anemophily. Anemophily means if air helped for the pollination, then that is called anemophily. Anemophily means in which pollination occurs by the air. Then if you see the characters of air pollinated flowers and pollen grains, that are the pollen grains which are transported by air are light in weight. Lightweight. If it is very heavy weight, how it will transfer through the air? It is not possible. Hence, light weight is one character. Then non-sticky. Those are non-sticky. Means they cannot attach. Okay, if tightly attached on flower, how the air is helped for the pollination? Hence, non-sticky, lightweight pollen grains. Pollen grains are lightweight and non-sticky. Then if you see the flower contain well exposed stamens. See, this is a flower which contain well exposed stamens. Then only the pollen grains of anther can enter into the, if it is large, if it is stamen is large, if it is very large, it can release pollen grain into the air. Okay, here it is flower, but see, anther is exposed in air, that can release pollen grains. Apart from this, the stigma. The stigma also large and feathery. Stigma also large and feathery. This is the stigma. Large feathery stigma. We can see that if large feathery stigma also, it can also move in the air and it can trap the pollen grains which are present in the air. Next, the single ovule in each ovary. The air pollinated flower contains single ovule and in the each ovary. The number of pollen grains are more. Why? Because there is a, during release and during transportation, lot of pollen grains may be reached to the different places. It may not to stigma, and lot of pollen grains are damaged. Because of that, number of pollen grains are more, but if you see the number of ovule is only one in each ovary. Then the flowers numerous flowers means lot of flowers combine together and form the inflorescence. Okay, this is the floral inflorescence. This is inflorescence. The flowers are arranged on a floral branch. Example for the anemophilous flower is grasses. Example in grass is maize. Then hydrophily. If pollination occurs through water, then that is called as hydrophily. Pollination occurs by the water. See, it is present in only few plants. Only few angiosperms are transported pollen grain through the water. Few types of aquatic plants also transported their pollen grains through the air, because the plant is in water and the flower is above the water, hence the air helped for the pollination. Then only approximately 30 genera, that mostly monocotyledons, transfer their pollen grains through the water. If you see example for hydrophilous plants, Vallisneria and seagrass. Once we will see the mechanism of pollination in Vallisneria and seagrass. See, this is the water surface, and it is the bottom of water, and this is the Vallisneria plant. See, the flowers of Vallisneria exposed on the surface of water, present above the surface of water by long stalk. It is the stalk. With the stalk, the flower is reach up to the surface of water and present on the surface of water. The pollen grains are released into the water. Then that pollen grains transported on surface of water, released on surface of water. Pollen grains also transported on surface of water and reach to the stigma, which leads to pollination. Means the pollen grains are transported on the surface of water. Then if you see the seagrass, this is the seagrass. Pollen grains release inside the water, not surface of the water, inside the water. Here also, but pollen grains transported by water only, but not on the surface of water, under the water. Pollen grains are transported under the water and reach to the stigma, which leads to pollination. That is about the pollination in Vallisneria and seagrass. Here in Vallisneria, pollination occurs on the surface of water, hence it is called epihydrophily. Epi means above, hydrophily means transported by water. Next, in seagrass, hypohydrophily. Hypo means inside the water, and hydrophily means transported by the water. That is about the hydrophily. Then if you see the characters of pollen grains of hydrophilous flowers, hydrophilous plants, that are pollen grains contain mucilaginous cover. On surface of pollen grain you can see the mucilaginous cover, means those are has to transport in water to prevent wetting surrounding to the pollen grain. We can see the mucilaginous cover. Then the flowers which are transported by hydrophily through the water, not brightly in color, there is no requirement for attraction of insects or attraction of animals, hence for the flowers are not in brightly colored. Then there is no use of production of nectar also. Those are not attractive, not more attractive, and they will not produce the nectar. That is about the hydrophily. Then third one is zoophily. If pollination occurs by the animals, then that is called as zoophily. But zoophily mainly occurs by the insects. If insects are involved in pollination, that is type of pollination is called entomophily. Entomophily also the type of zoophily, but in zoophily all animals including insects involved in pollination, but if you see the entomophily only insects are involved in pollination. In entomophily also mainly bees. Bee is responsible for the more pollination in entomophily. Then if you see the characters of zoophilous flowers, those are large in size. If they are small, those are clustered in a group. Actually those are in large size. If they are small, those are clustered in a group, and those are colorful to attract the insects, to attract the animals, and they produce nectar to give to animals. The insects are attracted to take nectar. They will take nectar and also use it for the pollination, and they has good smell also. They contain good smell also. Then actually the zoophilous flowers provide floral rewards. Example, if I say I will give one prize on Sunday, then you can come to class at Sundays also, because of prize is reward for you. Like here the animals will get some prizes from the flowers. Those are called floral rewards. The flower is giving that floral rewards for their pollination, to transfer the pollen grain. That floral rewards, it may be nectar or it may be pollen grains. Some type of animals eat the pollen grains, hence pollen grains also act as pollen rewards, floral rewards. Then apart from that, nectar also floral reward. But in some conditions, few types of flowers provide space to lay the eggs. It is an insect, it is one flower. The flower will provide space for lay of eggs, that is the floral reward. Then that flower is pollinated by insects. They will lay eggs in flower and they are also helpful for the pollination. Example for the plants, flowers that will provide the space for lay eggs is Amorphophallus. It is an tallest flower. The height of the flower is 6 feet. It will provide space to lay the eggs. Then another example is yucca flower. Yucca flower will give space to lay eggs only to the moth, not to the all animals, not to the all insects. Only moth can lay eggs in a yucca flower. It is a species specific, but here moth can lay eggs only in yucca flower. Because of this, yucca flower can pollinated only by moth. If yucca flower die, moth also die. If yucca flower species, total species die, moth species also die. And if moth species are total die, yucca also die, because there is no pollination. If there is no moth, there is no pollination for yucca. What happen? The moth will go and lay eggs in the locules of yucca ovary. Then after fertilization, during formation of seeds, the eggs become hatches and become into small moths that are come outside from the flower. That is about the floral rewards. Then if birds are helped for pollination, then that is called as ornithophily. Why? Because ornithology is study of birds. Ornithophily means the pollination occurs by the birds. Next, malacophily. Malacophily means pollination occurs by the snails. Ophiophily, if pollination occurs by the snakes, then that is called as ophiophily. This is about the agents of pollination. In next class, we will discuss about the pollen pistil interactions. Means after the transfer of pollen grains, okay, how pollen tube is formed, what is the use of pollen tube, how it will reach to the embryo sac, that all we will discuss in next class. Thank you. If this video is helped for you, subscribe my YouTube channel Lakshman Biology. Thank you.